Joseph.
You're right.
Yes, you all right?
I'm not very well. I've just got temperature for since yesterday.
Uh-huh. Can you manage it or you want to postpone it?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm in the bed for all day,
Oh,
so
okay, right, okay. So we'll continue with it. It's all right.
yeah.
Okay, right. So before I start, I sent you a mock today again. But before I
Yep.
start on that one, I want to take a little bit of your time to go through this
Yes.
exam structure today.
Yes.
Basically, I want you to know the 4 areas what they are testing us and what is expected of us.
Yes.
So remember, in our exam, we are always the finance manager in the managerial
Yep.
case study. So as the finance manager, you must know whether it's Mentee or whatever the company, you are basically responsible for monitoring the implementation of strategy. Now, strategy is always decided by the board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
Implementation is done at the lower levels, but you monitor. So you are basically, your role is a monitoring role. You are not an implementer, neither you are a kind of a strategy decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, naturally, your focus is on medium term, not short term, not long term. It's somewhat medium term. So
Mm-hmm.
generally, when a strategy is decided, it has it is long term. That long term strategy, we have to translate it into short term goals. So maybe a 5-year plan, but you need to work it through every 1 year kind of a thing. So that is a part of your role as the finance manager. Now for a
Yep.
film, the film may be a medium term kind of an investment, and your plan will be to work through that medium term plan.
Yep.
Budget preparation. Now you remember in the budget preparation, there are 3 types of budget preparations we come across. One, what
Mm-hmm.
we call incremental budgeting. We look at the previous film and then we add up a 5%, 10% here and there and try to make out a budget for the film. Right? Then the other approach is what we call zero-based budget. Zero-based budget. You don't look at any previous budgets. You try to create a new budget, assuming there is no previous. You try to create a new budget entirely justifying every expenditure from the scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we call zero-based budget. So hopefully we will come across some mocks on these areas. Then we do a budget based on activity-based budgeting. Activity-based budgeting. So these are the 3 main ways of preparation of budget. So we need to know about that one. Decisions need to be taken about investment in products, prices, and long-term assets. So in the film industry, it's always a decision about investing in a film. Film needs a big investment upfront, and we do not know till the film is produced, till the film is screened and put up on the viewing, whether the film will be a success or not. But we need to take certain decisions. Now remember, in some of the mocks what we were looking at, we saw in certain scenarios we had to abandon the film. We had to wait certain time. Pricing, we saw target costing coming up in the film industry, and also the film industry itself will need some long-term assets. Now maybe some cameras with all these 3D techniques and all these coming up, you might need new equipment even to shoot a film.
Mm-hmm.
All these sophisticated cameras and all that kind of a thing, special effect, compute imagery, all that means you might want to invest some of your money on long-term assets. Understand the business environment and the stakeholders. So in the film industry, we saw many stakeholders: the producer, director, the main actor, the co-actor, the special effects, those are some of the key roles in the thing. And also we have to understand the business environment, because these films are global films. So you have to be very, very mindful of each environment in which the film is going to be shown. Certain environment, you remember, we saw in the pre-scene, you have to do dubbing. Certain environments, you may have to do some subtitles in their own language, whatever. So you have to understand the business environment, the business culture, whenever we are producing certain film. Performance of both individuals and divisions need to be measured. So in the film industry, it will be more of a film. The performance of a film need to be measured, and also we have certain divisions like the production division, the distribution company. We need to have some kind of a measurement on those areas. So these are some of the things that is expected as a role of your finance manager. So this is very important for you, because you are sort of coming to the gateway. So you need to know the skills that is expected, detailed knowledge of risk for long-term decisions. You remember in this pre-scene, they are given some risk. They have analyzed certain risks. So we need to know how to manage those risks on long-term basis. Long-term finance. So far, we have not come across a kind of a scenario in the mocks about the long-term finance. Long-term finance is, we have to find, particularly we saw in for each film they have a finance company, and that generally majority is our maintain finance, and the balance is the finance of a third party external investor. But even maintain finance, they are not unlimited. You might need to raise finance for maintain. Now to raise money for maintain, being a listed company, they can go to the stock exchange and they can raise money through a rights issue. Right? They can go to the market, issue bonds and raise debt capital. They can go to the bank and raise money through bank loans. So all those options are available. But the company that is being formed for each film, the finance company, you remember we saw that 1 week in Moscow finance, then the other mock what we did, we saw summer night finance. The finance company, it's 60%, say majority, funds coming from the maintain and the balance coming from a third party investor. So we have to find third party investors. So mostly it can be a venture capitalist who can come for this film kind of a thing, because they take the risk, they will invest, and they know after the film is over, they can exit, and they will exit, and that's the end of the story. So that may be a way for you to finance that second company, the finance company. This is the next one is group accounts. We saw something in the last one mock. We saw the group accounts, the consolidated accounts, various theories, the goodwill calculations, etc., etc. We saw it. So this is some area that you need to develop, and hopefully by the time we come to February, it will get developed. Produce management information. Now for a film, what is the kind of management information you should be producing? Now, a film takes a long time for it to be produced. So, one of the management information will be always to see the actuals versus budget.
Yep.
You have a budget, you want to see how much you have spent already on the main cast, how much is available for you to spend on the main cast, how much you have spent on special effects, how much is available to, so that kind of management information is relevant. Also about each film, a progress report, a status report, percentage completed, when it is due for screening, that kind of information I suppose will be very relevant. Right? And present reality through numbers means you have to present the reality, how far we have progressed with the project, 80% spent, or that kind of a thing you need to know. Now you as the finance manager, you must be in a position to influence the CFO and the senior managers, business managers in your company about any recommendation that you are going to make. Now you remember in one of the cases we decided that we want to say that let's not put it on the scheduled screening, let's postpone the screening because they were going through some problems. Now that is your thinking. Your thinking must be very, very clearly stated with reasons so that the CFO will say, yes, what Soeb says is right. If you are vague and if you are not, giving that kind of information, they might not take it very seriously. So you must be in a position as the finance manager. This is what we call the people skills. You should be able to influence the CFO and the senior business managers of whatever the things that you want to communicate or for them to make decisions. So this paper we have tested on 4 different skills. So the marking is 100%. Of the 100% on the technical skills, we need to collect 39%, business skills 24%, people skills 21%, leadership skills 16%. So this is how we have to collect our marks. We have to collect 60% to get through the exam out of 100. Out of 100, we have to get to 60. But the paper is marked out of 150 marks, and therefore we have to get 90 marks to get through the exam. 60% of 150, right? So, and that 90 marks we must collect in technical skills 39%, business skills 24%, people skills 21%, leadership skills 16%. And that ratio, the minimum must be collected. So 60% of 39, 60% of 24, 60% of 21, 60% of 16% must be collected. Even if you collect, even if you collect on technical skills 70% and say 39%, if you collect 70% of 39, but if you collect on the business skills 50% of 24, you will fail the exam.
That's challenging, isn't it?
That's challenging. That's the negative side of this exam, because it's very difficult in the exam scenario, exam mood, for us to know what is technical skills, what is business skills, what is people skills, what is leadership skills. Right? We go and answer. They have a very sophisticated software from which they find out whether you have got adequate skills level, because sometimes you might get 93, still you can fail the exam because you are not covered adequately in a particular skill, that's 60%. You might, for example, people skills, you have to get 60% of 21, that is 12.6. If you get less than 12.6, even in the other areas, if you have got 70%, still you might be considered as a failure. So that's a risk that we have. So basically the idea of pre-seen material, which is now available with us, is for us to get familiarized with the organization. So we are supposed to study the pre-seen well, so we can demonstrate what we call the business skills. When we know the pre-seen well, we know who are the people in the organization, what kind of a structure, but they have told, always the examiners told, don't over-research on real life facts and statistics. It's all right for you to read 1 or 2 annual reports of a film company, but what they say is don't try to over-research, because you are not tested on the technical side of the film industry. So you don't need to worry too much. If you just do the pre-seen well, just look at a couple of annual reports, I think that should be all right. Because I know some of the tutors in certain institutions, they spend 40 hours 35 hours trying to do research on the industry, which is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that introductory overview should be read thoroughly. So we remember in the first couple of pages in the pre-scene, they gave us an introductory overview, what kind of a company. In this case, it's a company that's a listed company. So all those things we must know very, very clearly. Then remember only key themes in the pre-scene. You are not supposed to memorize the pre-scene, but you must know what are the key themes. Now, for example, in this film company, the key themes, they have to spend a lot of money on production. They have to spend 90% of advertising before the film is screened. So the success of the film will depend to a great extent the people's response once a film is released. So these are some of the themes. And then we saw the critical success factors like having the right cast in the film. So these are some of the key areas we need to be focused to get a successful film. And remember once again, film, the three key things. Number one, timely completion. Number two, managing within the budget. And three, getting that quality film. So we have to go to the pre-scene and look at some of the key themes so that we know what it is all about. So talking about the technical skills, as I said, there's 39% of your marks coming for technical skills. Technical skills basically is your E2 stuff, P2 stuff, F2 stuff. So all the value chain, the functional analysis, consolidated accounts, Porter's five forces, all that is the theory, transfer pricing, learning curve, all that is basically your technical skills. And Mendelow's matrix, Ansoff matrix. So this is why you need to know these things, because highest marks of marks in this case study is for technical skills. 39% for that one. So basically you are expected to explain the benefits of applying certain techniques or to interpret the findings of a previously prepared analysis or report. So remember we saw that value chain some consultants have done for this company. We were able to interpret that report. Right? So the management case study generally allows a very thorough examination of higher level skills such as analysis, interpretation, justification of recommendations. So this is what we call technical skills. The next one is business skills. Business skills is simply knowing your organization very well. You must know how much money you have. You must know what kind of profit they were earning. You must know whether their profits are going up or down. You must know whether their revenues are going up or down. So in other words, you must have a good interest about the business. What kind of organization structure, what they have, all that. Practice and review business-based case studies. Right? So should explain benefits and drawbacks of management accounting techniques specifically relevant to the industry and the business. So what are the management accounting techniques we can apply for the film industry? You remember we were talking about total quality management, right? Total quality management means from the beginning to the end, the things are done in such a way to get things done first, right in the first time. You don't want a repeat to be done. So you remember here we had a mock where after doing everything, special effects, they found the things to be bad. Now that's not good total quality management. If there was total quality management, it will be monitored at each stage, and before it comes to the closing, they will know, oh wow, these special effects are not coming right. So simply you need to be knowing that you're working for this fictitious organization called Menti, and you need to know entire inside outside of the Menti. What are the risks they face? What are the strengths what they have? Weaknesses, opportunities, threats, all that kind of a. The third skill what we have been tested is 21% of marks is for people skills. That is all about you must know your job specification, what is expected of you. Skills of communication. You must know to whom you are going to report, to whom you are going to write the report. So if it is a finance person, you will write it in a different language. If you are writing to non-finance people, it should be done in different way. So that's what we call skills of communication. Then skills of persuasion. Whenever you make a recommendation, it's something that it is well accepted that you will forcefully say this must be done. Tactfully, forcefully. But for that purpose, you must understand what they are asking. Now, this is the most difficult part in my own experience in this case study. Trying to find out what do they want from us. Understanding the needs of others. So that's what
I struggle the most.
Yeah, that's a struggle that all of us go through. In the exam, we will be lucky if we can read it, understand it. But at the moment you understand, then the flow will come. But if you don't understand, you're going on a wrong direction. You might write a beautiful answer, but which is not relevant. So this is a skill that we have to develop. We have to take it all the time, and this is why I think doing mock is the best way to get through. So even the mocks what we had done earlier, it's good for you to go through again and redo it and redo it. Yes. That's the way that you have to follow up. Finally, the leadership skills. We are tested here for leadership skills because we are at the middle management level. So we are expected to analyze a situation and to consider how to drive the performance. You remember earlier we came across a situation that Stan was causing problems. So analyze the situation and say what we need to do. So basically you have to manage the organization and teams through change. Lot of changes can happen in the film industry and we need to work out through changes. Right? So mostly E2 theory will apply. This is why we need to know E2 very well. Response need to be appropriate to the issue at the hand than demonstration of book learning. Now, this is a very important one. What we have to show is what is for the relevant scenario, not to talk about the value chain, not to talk about the Mendelow's matrix, not to talk about the Ansoff matrix. Because most of the time we will write and say, high power, high interest, they are the key people, we have to keep them informed, this, that, and the other. No. We must apply that theory, that model to the particular scenario.
Only relevant information.
Only the relevant thing. Examiner doesn't want to know what is Mendelow's matrix. Examiner doesn't want to know what is Ansoff matrix. Apply the Ansoff matrix to the scenario. Most of the time what we do is we write big paragraphs about the IFRS 10, IFRS T, the goodwill must be done, this thing. That is not what is expected. Take the scenario, apply your theory into the scenario. So exam scene, as we said, there are generally four scenes. Each section is about 45 minutes. And each section we saw it has one or more tasks. The task will be either request, offer an instruction, or analysis, or to advise. So this is what we have seen in the past couple of mocks what we did. Already I think we have done 8 mocks I think now, 45 minutes. And in each of those is what we saw was either we had to advise, or we had to analyze, or we had to provide information. So answer planning, first read the scene setting information. That is, we must read it very carefully. Identify the task in the question, the most difficult one, but the most important one. Plan the answer to cover all aspects required of the answer. So these 3 areas should take that first 15 minutes. Remember I told you about the 15 minutes? So reading the scenario, identifying the task and planning the answer should take that 15 minutes. Then the next thing, many students ask me, how many pages should I write? No, it's not the number of pages or the paragraph. It's the quality that is important than quantity.
One good paragraph, relevant information is enough.
Yeah, one good paragraph of relevant information is enough. And they say, try to use short sentences, short paragraphs. Don't try to write, because when you write an email, when you write a brief report, it must be readable. If you put lot of stuff into it, from the start to the beginning, you might forget, but you may not be able to understand it. So write in little paragraph, little sentences. Keep the language appropriate to the recipient. So we have to look at to whom you are going to write this report. If you are going to write to your finance director Isabella, you can write in a different way. But if you are going to write to some other person who does not know too much about the net present values or that, you might want to write it in a different way. And it's a good thing, because in your screen you have the bold, underline, numbering, all that. So it's a good thing to insert paragraphs and section headings. At least the 2 tasks you must put up as 2 section headings, rather than writing everything in one, without any paragraphs and all that kind of thing. So as I said, 5 minutes before section is over, a warning is given saying 5 minutes more. At that time, you must stop writing, read over your answer to ensure that you have covered every point you have raised, that ensure that it presents a very logical discussion, and prioritize issues according to what you understand the concerns of the organization. So when the examiner talks about 3 or 4 things, you must prioritize and say what is more important, and then address according to that one. So as I said, the exam is marked out of 150. We need 90 to get through. But the trick is, it's not just getting pure 90, getting 90 covering up 60% in every area. So if you get 75% good in technical skills, but you do only 50% good in business skills, you might fail the exam. So that's a tough one for all of us.
I think the worst thing is you find out about the results in 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah, the results come now. The November exam last year, it's coming up on next week, January 12th or January 12th. It's coming up. Yeah. Yeah. So it's about 6 weeks for the exam result.
It's in about April or February.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we are sitting in February. It will be some in April.
And in May you have a new exam, yeah?
In May you have a new exam. Yes.
So you don't know if you pass or fail. You only have 4 weeks.
No, yeah, because now the people who set for the November, they will only know whether they are whether they'll get to the exam or not only on the 12th of Jan.
And then they start preparing for the next.
If they have failed, they have to start getting ready straight with the maintained case for February.
That's going to be crazy. How?
Yeah, that is true. That's true, because now a lot of students, in fact, asked me who sat for the November, should I start again? But I said no, because they might get through the exam. It's a waste. So they might get through. But on the other hand, if they don't get through, it can be very critical, very stressful for them for the second time.
I think it's a risk, and if you get a feeling and if you're not 100% sure, there's no harm in just preparing. From the.
Yeah, that's true. Because for some of the people, I have already sent the pre-scene for them if they want to at least read it, because the mocks they have done in the earlier one. So, but still, it may be worthwhile for them to go through the pre-scene and to see if it fails, for them to get ready. So as I said, in every area you must get 60%. So this is a little bit of a presentation on the management case study, which I suppose is very relevant for all of us. So today I have put up a new mock. Now we are moving into the third 3-hour session, and here we have got a mail from our Anton, the distribution director, and it's all about tax avoidance by a man called Santosh. I'm forwarding you an email from a journalist. It came via Eugene. Eugene, you remember, is one of the executive directors who passed it to me. Some of the basic facts stated in the draft are correct.
Okay.
So we do have an arrangement with our part-time tax consultant to refer many of our friends to her for tax consultants. Now, when you are in business, you need some tax consultancy work. Sometimes it is done by CIMA accountants, sometimes it is done by chartered accountants. So we go to them maybe for our personal tax, maybe for our company tax, we go to tax consultants. So our tax consultant, Jane, who is a CIMA qualified accountant, pay a commission for such referrals, and it is not shown in our maintained books, and we share amongst the executive board members, and we do not pay taxes on such commissions. So what they do is they send their friends to whoever they meet. They will send them to this Jane, who is their tax consultant. And when I refer Sohaib to Jane, Jane will do Sohaib's work and Jane will give me a commission because I have referred him to you. But I don't show that in maintains books. It's a private kind of a thing. We must be collecting that money, and between the executive directors, they share it. And they also don't pay taxes. Santosh is a celebrity in the music field, and he is also a big investor in many business projects, and we have approached him to make an investment in our film Poverty Row to take a 40% stake in Poverty Row Finance. So remember, just like Dinosaur Crush Tree, Poverty Row is also another film on the pipeline in that precinct. So here where it's a kind of a person, Santosh, and we have basically the company has approached him to make a 40% investment. You remember we have our own about 60%. The balance come from a third party investor, so we have approached this man Santosh. We are not refer Santosh to Jane, but we know he is a big time tax evader. Right? So we have not sent Santosh to our Jane, but the directors, they say they know he is a big time tax evader. Now, one question I want to ask is, what is the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance?
Avoidance is legal. It's within the legal framework of the tax side, but evasion is when you're actually laundering the money, or when you are actually using the offshore companies and whatever, however the way you can just to evade the tax. You basically don't have the money with you.
Yeah, because you do something illegal and wait without paying taxes. It can be a false return. It can be undisclosed income, like what these people may be doing. That kind of a thing is what we call tax evasion. And as you rightly said, tax avoidance is maybe not totally ethical, but being sort of somewhat trying to do things in a way that people may understand it. And
tax consultants, what they do, they help you avoid the tax. I mean, people hire these tax accountants for that, isn't it?
Yeah, actually the tax consultants are supposed to be on the tax avoidance area. They must give advice on legal side of it, which is perfectly legal. But
Yes.
we see the even if it is legal, sometimes it may be considered somewhat unethical to provide some of the advices what they provide. Right? So it's a very, very tricky line when you give advice on tax consultants. But you are never supposed to give advice on evasion. But we can see our potential investor is a tax evader. Now, we associating with a tax evader is probably not ethical. I would like you to address the following issues and I need your reply as a matter of some urgency. Could we be accused of behaving unethically with respect to referring clients to Jane and earning commissions? So that's the first part of it. Second, please draft a response that we can submit to Frederica. Please also give an explanation for the board as how you will address the fact that the draft newspaper article clearly makes us appear unethical. Right? We will consider your draft and related comments at tomorrow's board meeting before submitting anything. So it should be board meeting before submitting anything. Let's look at what is the press article.
That's a draft.
This is what the Frederica Jans, the reporter of business record, is writing to our Eugene, and Eugene is forwarding that mail to the Anton, and Anton is now forwarding it to you. So regarding tax avoidance, I'm seeking a response from Menteen concerning the proposed investment of celebrity Santosh. We have established evidence that Santosh has been investing heavily in many business and subsequently writing them off as losses to avoid paying tax on the considerable wealth that he has amassed from his show business career. So he seems to be an outright tax evader. We believe that
basically, the thing is you declare a loss, you don't have to pay tax. So he's trying to throw money ahead.
Yeah. So what he doing is he's just putting up money and he says it's a loss and he's not paying taxes. We believe Santosh has been invited by Menteen to take up a 40% stake in Poverty Room Film and that you have referred him to your tax consultant to seek guidance on how to avoid taxes on his way. This is what the paper is telling, right, or the draft paper report. When researching this story, I posed as a potential investor and approached Jane, who is known to be specialized in offering tax avoidance advice to many business ventures in Bida. So the reporter lady Frederica has gone disguising herself as a kind of an investor to meet Jane. Typical thing that journalists do. Jane admitted she has a large clientele of business entities where she offers tax avoidance schemes. So I want you to note down the word. She's never speaking about tax evasion. She's making tax avoidance schemes. And specifically mentioned Menteen directors and also said that Menteen directors refer many of their friends to Jane for tax advice and said she makes a commission to Menteen for all these referrals. For all these plans referred. I have sufficient evidence to support every fact and my draft article is ready for publication in next Monday's paper. I'm writing in order to give Menteen the opportunity to respond if it wishes to do so. Although the article will run regardless, I will require your comments within 48 hours. Otherwise, I will run story as it stands. This is your scenario now. So you see this newspaper has got lot of information and they are going to publish something in next Monday's paper, which can be very, very harmful to us. He talks about few things because our director himself says they are partially correct, right? You know, we are getting money, we are not paying taxes, our directors. So being a public company, directors doing this kind of a thing is not proper. So that's.
But this is not something Frederica has mentioned, isn't it? This is not in-house. Frederica hasn't mentioned that, has it? It's our in-house thing, isn't it?
Frederica has mentioned, because being a public company, our directors need to be very transparent.
No, but Frederica has.
Yeah.
In the newspaper draft, hasn't mentioned anything about directors. They have mentioned. I'm not sure because that's what I'm asking you. They have mentioned about Santosh and his.
Read this one. He says. We believe Santosh has been invited, and when researching IPOST as a potential investor, approached Jane, who is known to be specialized in offering tax avoidance to many. Jane admitted she has had a large client club business entity where she offers tax avoidance schemes, specifically mentioned Mentee directors, and said Mentee directors refer many of their friends for tax advice, and said she makes a commission for all these clients referred.
Okay.
She does not say that you directors are not paying taxes on the commission, but she knows the story. And our intent says, if she knows this part of the story, other part of the yeah, we are not declared it as income, we are not paid taxes, and we are taking it personally to our thing. But maybe using the Mentee's name.
Instead of declaring the money towards the company, taking it home.
Towards the company, this is like just earning little bit of pocket money kind of a thing. Maybe big money, maybe small money, but it's not in the books of the company.
Just taking petty cash.
Yeah, we use the name of Mentee. We say we are Mentee directors, and our friends are referred to Jane, and this is the scenario.
So basically highly unethical.
Yeah, you have to very carefully think about it, right? So this is basically, now she is going to write this in the papers. We know if it comes in the paper in this form, it can be very, very harmful. So you have to be very, very tactfully. Now you have two different views you can take it, or three different views. You can just ignore the letter and ask her to fly a kite, do whatever she wants to do it. That's one way. Second one, we can respond to her and say, you know, whatever we had to say. Third one, we can be very arrogant with Frederica and say it's none of your business, you know, just keep quiet.
She would still type it. She would still publish it.
Yeah. So you have to think what you are going to do. First of all, shall we look at the task? So now we know the scenario. Now this is what I say. First 15 minutes we will write all these things and we will try to understand the scenario. So he's asking, I would like to address the following issues and I need your reply as a matter of some urgency. Could we be accused of behaving unethically with respect to referring clients to Jane and earning commission?
It is unethical that we are not declaring the money. So we could be, we could be accused of that, but then, we it's something that we have to give some sort of an explanation for that, for the money.
Referring friends, right? Referring friends to our Jane, I don't think there is anything unethical.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No. They say if you come and ask me, hey Kumar, do you know any good tax consultant? I say, yeah, Jane is very good. Why don't you go to Jane?
And if she gives you some benefit, I don't think that's wrong either, because you are referring
Yeah.
It's yeah, because it's something like it's marketing, word of mouth. So you
Yeah.
are somebody trusts you, and you send somebody there because they trust you. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why she paid
Yeah.
because of your
So,
reputation.
so she paints something as a matter of appreciation for whatever the work that has been entrusted to her. Is also
Mm,
doesn't seem to be too much illegal or too much
mm,
unethical.
mm,
So we can argue it and say we have not acted unethically in
mm,
sending clients to our jail. The
mm,
jail is also outsider, right? Her profession is giving tax consultants, and she is giving tax consulting on tax avoidance schemes, not on tax evasion schemes. So to that extent, there is no problem,
mm.
isn't it? But the
Yes.
ethical aspect comes up using the company name maintain and getting money and not reflecting that in our financial statements and not paying taxes.
Mm,
That may not be only unethical, it may be even illegal.
mm,
If we have worked out on a personal basis, as not put in the company, now you're working for a particular company without using the company name, you as Suhaib, refer some person to me for tuition, and if I give you some, commission or whatever it may be, there is nothing unethical in it,
no.
right? But if you use your company name and using the company name, and if you get money, that money belongs to the company and not to the individual.
Mm,
So this is where they are just going on the unethical side of it, and even
mm,
sometimes maybe illegal.
mm.
So the basis
So we
for
can
it, yeah,
we can make the word illegal in there.
yeah, the basis for any of the ethical question is to use SIMA code of ethics. So
Mm,
according to SIMA code of ethics, referring clients, referring our friends is not unethical.
no.
However, getting money using the company name and not disclosing in the company's financials is lack of integrity.
Yes.
Lack of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And not paying taxes also, it's not only a question of lack of integrity, it's a question of illegality
Mm,
and even maybe against the professional behavior.
it is. Yes.
Because as professionals, we are supposed to pay taxes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, we are supposed to pay taxes. Nothing wrong in getting tax advice to, to plan your tax, to avoid your tax. There's nothing wrong in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my response for that part of the story.
Yep.
Now the second part of the story is a very, very challenging one. Please draft a
Mm,
response that we can submit to Frederica. Please also give an explanation for the board as how you will address the fact that the draft paper clearly makes us appear unethical. So first of all, we have to draft a response to Frederica.
mm,
Frederica is a journalist who is going to put an article about this whole scenario, and as a matter of courtesy, she is writing to us and telling us what she is going to do before she writes it. But she makes a little bit of a threat saying whether you answer or not, it will go.
mm. It will
So
still be published.
yeah. So what will be your response? How can we, now we have to understand, journalists are journalists, right? She looks very stern, but we know if it goes as it is, it's not very good for us. So we have to see how we can, in an ethical way, we can soften her stand. Get her to write, it's all right, but not in a way that is going to be so harmful. So how can we do that kind of a thing?
I think if it's disclosed about this person and it's well-known fact that he's a tax evader, I don't think, ethically, I don't think we as a finance manager, we need to refer it back to internet. This guy, which should we question the fact that should we be dealing with this person?
Yeah.
Because as a this is something which is it not avoidable, because it's going to affect although it's 40% stake in the finance company, but is it not going to affect and question the ethics of the company and the reputation of the production company?
Now we have to look at, he's a celebrator big time, and we have approached him to make, we are not referred. So one thing the paper article is telling is that we are referred Santosh to Jane, which we can deny.
That's true,
yeah. Which we can deny. Only thing is, we know he is a big time tax evader. So when we know he is a big time tax evader, to have dealings with him is not
going to affect it's not going to help the ethically, it's not going to help, or the reputation wise, it's not going to be
for the reputation of the company. To deal with a person who is known to be a tax evader is not proper. Right? But now now we have two parts here. One thing is to respond to the paper. Now paper, they don't know whether we know him as a tax evader. Neither we did not disclose it to the paper. Right? We are not supposed to talk about a third party unless there is some court case and a conviction or something like that. We can't just, make certain prejudicial statements about a person, because that is also against ethics, because that's, confidentiality. So we cannot talk about Santosh because we do not know. So what is the press article saying? Press article is saying, right? We have to admit we have invited him to take a 40% thing, right? But we can deny that we have never referred him to our Jane, right? And also we can admit, yes, we refer our friends to Jane. Of course, we have to admit, because it's good to be truthful even at a later stage rather than denying when we know we have done something wrong. So we have to say, yes, we admit that we have made a blunder here, not disclosing. We will make amends for this immediately, and retrospective effect, everything will be done and proper taxes will be paid.
So we carry on with this guy or not? The question is, do we?
Yeah, now as far as the article is concerned, article says we have been invited, you are referred to, so we have not referred. When so basically what the article is talking about is Santosh has been investing heavily in.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, so we have approached to put money in our
But we can't talk about whether he has invested heavily in many business and subsequently written off. We can't talk about him.
But can we? Yeah, I understand that.
So we have to.
Show.
Yeah.
You don't have to declare plans with him in the future as either that we're gonna carry on with him or not?
No, we can always say, as far as we are concerned, we will ensure that all monies that all his transactions will be completely transparent, and we will keep a record of transparent transactions. We will
I
never,
see.
we will not, because we do not know, just because the paper woman is saying that, she has been involved, that man has been heavily involved in many business and all that. We do not know. We cannot comment.
Mm.
So we have to say we cannot comment on Santosh's actions about tax avoidance or tax evasion, right? We don't know anything about it. True enough, we have invited for a 40% stake, and we will, as far as we are concerned, we will ensure that 100% transparency will be maintained. That's for the press, that is what we should be saying. Of course, we can always thank her for giving us the opportunity to respond before she put up the article.
Okay, so that's something we can mention as well.
Yeah.
Also, one thing, a couple of things quickly.
Yeah.
Number one, do we when we say we haven't approached Santosh, is that not unethical? We are lying.
What is it? No, we can't say, we should not lie, because we know we have invited. And Chan says clearly.
No, because I remember you mentioned that we can deny it if we want.
Should not deny, should never deny.
Oh, did not deny. Okay,
should
okay. Sorry, I think
should never, what you are going to deny is we have not referred him to Jane.
Okay, yeah.
Because we have never referred him to Jane. So because here he says we have not referred Santosh to Jane.
Yeah.
So that one we will deny. But we can't deny that we have entered into a 40% stake, because that's a truthful statement. Because our Anton Chan says we have approached him to make an investment, 40%. And there's nothing wrong in inviting him to take a 40%.
So we declare the taxes, we declare it on the books. If we have anybody,
we are going to be very straightforward. We do not know about his dealings unless there's some court injunction, court action or something like that. We can't just go by what the people's opinion, isn't it? So we will not go by the people's opinion. We will just we will say we cannot comment on it. We do not know whether it is right or wrong. We cannot comment about a third party. We will not comment. Finally, we have to write. The one thing is to make a response to the Frederica. The other one is to write to the board. Now, when you are writing to the board, it's a different story. Because when we know that he is a big time tax evader, having any associations or dealings with him could make in big reputational damage for our company. If and when people come to know that we are fully aware and that we have done a deal. So your suggestion, your recommendation probably will be, if you have not signed yet, as much as possible, avoid him. Because it's a high risk. That is to the board. That is what you will write to the board.
Absolutely. Before the meeting.
Before the meeting. But a response to Frederica, we are not going to mention that one.
No. And the finance manager, can you say things like, or suggesting like, okay, like before this report is published, we should make a public a press statement or statement in the press or release, or just say something before she prints her report to say clear our side before that happens, so the damage is reduced.
Yeah, we can call up a press conference and do it, but sometimes you have to be very wise. Other people, other press may not be even knowing about it. And we trying to jump over the gun may just you know,
Make it.
make
Give it a big.
make it a very public issue. And you know, if it has become public, then it's all right to call up a press conference or whatever. But here,
Like
one
like-
reporter writing, we have to be very mindful.
like Panama,
Mhm.
when they
Yeah,
in Nawaz Sharif, his son came to the TV channel
yeah,
and he started all the statements, and the
That's
other son
all right.
came.
Because that
And
was
what
very
happened-
very public all over.
No, before he came in the public,
Yeah,
they asked him, "Would you like to say anything?" He says, "Because remember, like she's asking if you want anything, give me a response within 48 hours."
Yeah.
So they asked him.
yeah,
So the family knew it's all going to the media and public soon. So before it came to the media,
yeah,
they came and asked a few stupid things, and now all those things he said have become the biggest pound for them. Because
Yeah.
the statements are contradicting with each other.
exactly. So I don't think
Now
yeah,
yeah.
we should not make because this is one press, one reporter writing. We must try and tackle her and try to see whether we can, clear it
So
off here.
people say if they never came to public, then maybe the issue would have been ignored. But
Yeah.
because they came themselves,
Yes.
they gave more highlight to.
Yeah, definitely. Because when you are in a situation like this, you must talk minimum, speak minimum, and keep things to the minimum.
Because otherwise, those things can be used in
Yeah,
media
because
and the court.
any contradictions can be countered, all that. So that's why sometimes you see some of these presidents, the press secretaries, they have very short press briefings and they just get up and go. So here also this is what we should do. We should not try to make a very drama out of it. We must thank her for giving us the opportunity, right? Say, yes, we admit that we have done something wrong, we will correct it. But as far as Santosh is concerned, true enough, we have approached him, but so far nothing is finalized. But we cannot comment about his tax evasion schemes, etc. But as far as we are concerned, our company will ensure that proper, transparent records will be kept for all purposes. That's all we can do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But internally, you will write to the board and say, when we know that he is a tax evader, to have any associations with him may be very risky, and maybe your recommendation will be to avoid him. So this is what we should be looking. So this is a kind of a scenario that can come up in a case like this. So we will look at more of.
But I've written a answer for the last one.
Okay.
I don't know the headings, and I was wondering, if you can ask, if you can write an answer or put something, totally different answer. It could be any answer. I just need a format, and just to see how it's.
I gave you a format for the first answer. I did an answer and gave it to you.
I'll check my emails.
Yes, I have given you a first answer on the risk one, so you can follow the same one.
I need it on the Microsoft Word, I think.
Yeah.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah, on the Microsoft Word, I have sent you an answer. Yeah. So you can follow that format, all the answers.
Brilliant. Yeah. Good.
So we will meet tomorrow again.
Can we meet a bit later tomorrow? Then I think we on for tomorrow. We agreed for 3 p.m. Can we meet later?
Yeah, what time?
I'd say 4, not very late, 4.
Okay, 4 is all right by me, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, 4 is all right.
Brilliant.
So we make it 4 tomorrow. Okay, right. Yeah.
The payment I made, and I got an email back from INSAF saying that it's not cleared, but I showed them I sent them the clip, the picture of on my phone.
Right.
And I don't know what they're saying now. I need to check my email, but I got an email back this morning that they said it's not received, but it's gone from my account, so it's a bit strange.
Yeah, just follow it up with them. I think it should be all right with them, I think. Yeah.
Cool. All right then. Thanks.
Okay. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Take care.